So John is here, came here from San Rafael, California. I think he's one of the furthest travelers. We may have a gift for that, I'm not sure. And there's your mic. Thank you, John, very much. All right.
I'd like to thank Robert for inviting me here. It's a pretty unique event we have here in Value Electronics. We have, like you said, the top tier products from a number of manufacturers. These are the best panels that are on the market, and I'm happy to support THX and present what we think makes for a good certified product. My background, I started at THX in 2005 on the audio side. I was working in the certification group, testing amplifiers, receivers, amplifiers, and whatnot. THX launched a display program in 2006 with Runco, and soon after, Panasonic, LG, Sharp had come on board. And so it's really grown a lot in the last 5 years. At first we were just in the North American market. Soon after we went global. So now you'll find us on a number of continents around the world. And really, what is THX? Why does it exist? And a lot of you have heard the story before. I'll go ahead and say it again, but George Lucas had created THX because he wanted you guys, the consumers and moviegoers, to experience the toils that he worked in the mixing suites and the editing suites, and present a good acoustic and visual experience in the cinemas. And so he had certified a number of cinemas to present Return of the Jedi in 1983, and that's really why I'm here today, because that trickled into the home audio market in the 90s, and then now home video. And really, what does it mean to have the THX logo on the display? And so THX used industry standards. We came up with what we think will present a good picture to the consumer, and we bundle that into the THX movie or cinema mode. So all of the THX certified panels here have that mode in place, and our goal is to present that as the best out-of-box picture mode. And so Kevin already noted that a lot of the Panasonic and the LG are in the THX mode now. These are the best out of modes. I'll have to have a word with him about this at Lee. I'm not sure why exactly.
We'll discuss that when we get to it. No doubt. That's part of the agenda.
And really, we take those standards and we give the specification to the manufacturer so they can design and engineer the product to meet our requirements. And really, what does that mean for you guys, the consumer? Our specifications broke it down into a few different categories. One is panel alignment, color accuracy, and that, like I said before, we want to present the most accurate picture out of the box. Now, Kevin Miller wouldn't have a job if manufacturers did it perfectly out of the box, but they don't. And so Kevin Miller and a lot of you guys, the calibrators, are working to perfect this product and make it the best it can possibly be. And so one thing that we look at is Rec 709. We want accurate grayscale, accurate primaries, secondaries, the gamma to track with not only grayscale but also the primaries and secondaries. We will the black level to be dark, but also show the detail in the lapels and the suits. And on the upper end, we want the white to show the detail as well. The second aspect of this, which is one thing that calibrators cannot control, unfortunately, is the panel performance. We want good uniformity throughout the panel. We want good off-axis viewing for LCDs. If you told me 4 years ago that we would be certifying LCDs, I wouldn't think that you're right, because the viewing angle has really gotten a lot better moving off-axis on these LCDs. Granted, they may not be the same as the plasmas, but they have much improved, and the color accuracy as you move off-axis is a lot better. And so we'll look at white uniformity, dark uniformity, blacks, grays. We want to ensure that if you have a white filled up, that the luminance and chrominance in the different spots on the screen is accurate and they all match. The third part of it is motion processing. We really wanted to create, once we have the color accuracy down, the panel performance, we want to make sure that it looks right. That's the biggest thing for the consumer. They won't see the test patterns, but they want to ensure that loss looks good. And so we have our proprietary test patterns to cover jaggies, judder, contouring banding, de-interlacing, and we run these through the tests of the manufacturers, and they have to engineer and program their motion processing chips in order to meet our requirements. And so once we have all these items, the color accuracy, the panel performance, motion processing down, we bundle that into the THX certified mode. And so what we want, like I said before, is to create the best mode out of the box. And so one thing about that is the process in which it gets certified. We update our specification annually. We submit that to the manufacturers, and they design and engineer the products to meet that requirement. And so they'll send us a prototype. Usually it's right before our product announcement at CES, and we'll work with that, and hopefully it meets our requirements. But likewise on audio, nothing meets the THX standard in its first go around. And so a lot of times they'll submit the product, and the engineers will fly out from Japan and Korea, and we'll work with them in the black lab testing, and then they can see with their eyes what's wrong with the panel, and it's much easier than communicating via email. And so in a best case scenario, the product will be certified in 4 days, 5 days. We'll test it, see something wrong, they'll apply a software update, and then we'll retest, and then that iteration goes on until it's certified. Worst case, which some people have seen, is that the product will come in, it meets a lot of the requirements, but it doesn't meet all of them, and they'll have to go back to Korea, go back to Japan, take their product with them, and re-engineer it in their facility, and then come back maybe 3 weeks later, a month later, and then hopefully at that point get certified. Now once it's certified, it's not done. Once a product hits the market, we'll request a product sample from the manufacturer, and they'll submit it to us. We'll test it in our Centerville facility, and we'll make sure that it meets the same requirements that the prototype did. And along with that, we'll also go to Best Buy. We'll go to our Value Electronic store, and we'll buy a panel, take it back to our facility, and measure it. Even the senior video engineer, he'll go out to Mexico, to LG's facility, pull the panel off the production line. We'll create a black space in the factory and measure it right there. And if it doesn't meet our requirements, then we'll work with LG and the engineers to create an offset in order to get that panel to meet THX requirements. And so really with this process that goes on for years and years, we want to be able to present the best picture mode out of the box. And we understand that even better performance is achievable with this spending hours calibrating it. So if any of you have any questions, I'll go ahead and let this carry on, but if you want to come speak to me afterwards, I'd be happy to answer what I can.
Awesome.
Very good. No questions, huh? And I forgot to mention that John is the senior engineer in charge of product certification on video product. So he's got a pretty serious job over there.